everybody. This is Cass Allen. Welcome to the show. Anybody who's been following knows we've been on a dating pool excursion, talking about various levels. Today we're talking about dating women who just had babies and also dating as a woman who has just had a baby. From what I understand, 4 to 6 weeks after you give birth, you pretty much can fuck. you know. So if you're in the dating pool, as many women are who give birth, your window's pretty good, assuming your doctors have cleared you, blah, blah, blah. Um, there are many women who date and get pregnant during the dating process. They don't make it to engagements and weddings, marriages. Um, so we have children out here with single women, single mothers all over the place because even if you wait till you get married to have a kid, we still produce them at some point. There'd probably be less, but the bottom line is people fuck a lot during the dating process and get excited and things happen. A lot of people don't protect themselves and whatever. That's not what this show is about. It's about having a baby and dating with a baby, you know, being the person that's dating the woman and being the woman. Stating your vagina, basically, like I said, from what I understand, that thing is ready to pop again in a couple of months, provided your doctor gives you clearance. And even then, there might be some issues going on. You got to be careful about how you bring that puss back into the world. You know, don't let somebody tear it up before it's healed. You go out here and get this situation going on. And when I speak of penetration, I'm talking all people. It could be anybody penetrating you, you yourself, your gay or your straight lover. It doesn't matter, or other, transgender. There's so many categories. Please don't get offended, because I didn't come here to remember everything. I came here to just have some fun and talk about stuff that relates to everybody. I try not to genderize too much, but this is one of those episodes where we don't have a choice because the only people who can have children are women. That's fucking period. That's period. Yeah, robots got babies in their robot bellies, but those are not children. Those are robots, So this is for the women, period. So you're going to hear the pronouns. Don't be getting in your feelings saying, I'm a this kind of woman, I'm a that kind of woman, I'm a cisgender woman, I'm a trans woman. We're not talking about any of that. We're just talking about women who can have babies. Are we all on the same page here? I hope so. Okay? So we're talking about the state of that vagina. That vagina, not anybody's vagina, but a woman who had a baby. So let's stay in the context here so we don't have any problems. We checking on the state of that vagina because it's pushed out a big little, pushed out a cantaloupe head attached to a watermelon body. That's a lot of pushing to me. I can't even imagine. Some of y'all can barely push a shit out. So you want to push out a cantaloupe and a watermelon during one process. I salute you. I think it's an amazing thing, and I think we do need to be concerned about the state of your vagina after you perform this act. Because your vagina basically most of its life accommodated maybe a 6, 8, 10-inch penetration of something, or 2, 3 inches in girth tops. Cucumber all your life coming in, and all of a sudden a cantaloupe and a watermelon are coming out. I'm not so sure I'll be getting an attitude with somebody, that I'm dating. No, hear that word. I'm dating that had a baby a couple of months ago, and I'm anxious to get up in there. I don't think that would be my first concern. I just can't imagine, because I've never had a baby. I own that. I have some of the body parts to have one. I may not even be able to have children, based on my family history. There's a strong possibility it couldn't happen if I even tried. Nevertheless, I would have to imagine that my vagina would be told to fuck up. Am I wrong, ladies? I hear some stories, but most of the stories are never about the pussy. They're about the stomach. When is the stomach gonna go down? You still look pregnant, that kind of dumb shit. But don't that the pussy get toe up, don't it? So is this conversation either worth me having? Like, what's the period that you want to start dating? I know a lot of women go through depression, postmortem depression, I believe they call it. They, to everybody, including the baby. And I'm not being funny. So that doesn't relate to you either. I'm talking about women who want to date, after they've dropped the cantaloupe and the watermelon. They want to actively get back out there. Some women haven't dated since they've gotten pregnant because, whoever got them pregnant, like, said all the wrong fucking things after they stuck the dick up in there and they break up right away. So you go this whole 9 months without dating, you just focusing on the baby. In the first 2 or 3 months, you're just focusing on the baby. You know, it's been a year now. I'm on a date to people around me. It's been a year. I want to go out again. Gotta be with. Let's keep it moving. You got to look at now. I want to go out again. Like I said, you know, I want to go out and like I said, I've never had a baby, so I'm going to sound dumb during some of this conversation. And I'm also having fun, as I remind y'all all the time. I'm just shooting the breeze, talking shit, having a good time. Some of y'all out here hearing me, y'all enjoyed it. Some could give less than a fuck. Like I said, reach one. I'm having a good time. Breast leaks, I understand. I understand. Hear my words. I understand can be an issue. I understand the duct will open up and just, is it true? It just want to feed when you not expecting it to want to feed people and you could like be anywhere and suddenly your nipple go like a fountain and just open up in case somebody's thirsty. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I don't know. And I haven't asked these questions. They're just coming to me now. It's best to ask the general population instead of one woman, because y'all have different experiences, right? Maybe if enough people comment on this, I could get some type of senses of, like, is that true? Does the titty door just open and start leaking anytime it wants? Because I would think on a date, like, what do you do? Do you put a small cup over the nipple or do you seal it up with that, make the milk go back inward? This is turning into an interview. I apologize, ladies. These things are fascinating me. Like, what happens with that part of the body during the date? Can it possibly interfere with the date, or do you have? Because from what I understand, the titty will give milk for some time. After that, baby don't even need any milk anymore, especially if y'all have more than one child. This is what I heard. Excuse me. This is what I heard. If it's not true, check me in the comments, boo. You know. And obviously, the titty is ready to feed. You milked your breast and put some milk in the bottles for your child because you're going out, and the time you normally feed your child, your titty, you won't be home. So you prepared a nanny, a babysitter, and you've given her some of your titty milk to give your baby at the time that you would usually be there, right? Spending time away from the baby. Are you ready for that time away from the baby? You know if you're ready to date. Are you calling home every 11 minutes to check on the baby, even every half an hour? Are you looking at your watch? How hard was it for you to leave the house? Did you cut the date short because you couldn't focus? You just had a baby. Sometimes even when your body is ready to get back into the loop, your mind isn't, because there are things you want to do, relative to that baby that take priority because that's what babies do to us. They make themselves number one in your life. This precious little thing that can't survive without the help of us or some guardian. You become that angel. Are you ready for that time away from your baby? It's okay to not be ready. There's no timeline unless the things that, you're doing, the time you're spending with the baby is creating issues in your life and impeding progress or creating detrimental situations. That's a different story. Might be time to pull an umbilical cord. But I'm simply speaking of, that natural time away, not that smothering and, all that excess energy that some people do give their children that have a hard time letting go. Sometimes it is too soon. Some people have children that, require a little more feeding than others, newborns that have come early or have illnesses and weakness that require different types of commitments, but they still need a date in life. People are human. People enjoy love, they enjoy hugs, they enjoy affection, they enjoy making love, they enjoy someone telling them they're wonderful. We love nurturing from each other, just like all the other animals. We see sets of creatures sitting together, sets of creatures licking each other, sets of creatures hugging each other, sets of creatures following each other. We have the same traits. We want to belong to a tribe. We want to feel good. And if not a tribe, at least give me somebody to make me feel good. So let's imagine all of that, and you found all of that. You found somebody to make you feel good. Hmm. This person and you have gotten very close. You've been dating for 6 months. You've been going over to their house. Another 6 months pass. You still going over to their house because the baby's at your house. You got your babysitter. You're not neglecting this baby. When you're with your mate, you're at their house. When you're not with your mate, you're home. It's been a year now. You talking and feeling out living together, but you want to start slow. So somebody got to come over, right? Where the baby is, because that's the only thing missing. Baby's still in the room with mommy, right there on that bed, because that baby's too small to be sleeping alone. We haven't made it to the crib yet. We might be a couple of months away from it, but we're not there yet. You coming over? I'm asking a question of the people who are coming over. The baby's in the bed. Been dating a year. Normally in a year, you still horny as a motherfucker. Probably take, a few more years to get tired of people, most cases. What's happening here? Every time you come over, are you gonna not have sex at the mother's house because the baby's in the bed? You gotta wait patiently for this baby to be cribbed. What are you gonna do? Think about these things. When you're dating people, what are you gonna do? She tells you can't come to my house and she don't like your shit. What are you gonna do? Or she tells you you can't come to my house, but I'll come to yours if XYZ. What you gonna do? You gotta think about this shit. Are you prepared to change? And that's fine if you're not. Just know yourself. Might be okay also with something that people are not. Taking the baby and the stroller on your dates. Some people look at the baby like Hmm. Oh, you my competition. I gotta find somewhere to put your ass so I can fuck your mother. That's real talk. I wanna fuck your mother right now, and here you are in the way. But some of you are smart. You understand that if you're gonna have a relationship with this mother has a kid, and this kid is going to be a part of your life. So it would behoove you to take that baby in that stroller on some dates because that's going to become your life. Why the fuck you always want to go out with her alone and then you propose to her? To me, that's just stupid. I've been going out with you for 2 years without the baby, and now I want to marry you. I know nothing about this child. This child might be Damien. I might marry this woman and find out this child, 8-year-old child, didn't want this to happen at all. Got a record already at school. You know what I'm saying? Cops just waiting to put him in the slammer. It's so important to include these children in your life. Find out what role they could play. Like I said, I'm talking about dating and you dating and put something to go somewhere. How much sleep are you two gonna get? Like, don't you want to learn the mother's life? Like, and where you fit in? Because unless you're stupid, you should know the baby comes first. The baby comes first. And then you, possibly, depending on how she likes your ass. Her parents might come before you. Her siblings might come before you. Her best friend might come before your ass. Don't forget, we're just dating. I didn't say you were the love of my life. We're dating. We're dating to think about more. When do you start practicing, right? When do you start spending time with the baby? Another thing y'all got to think about, sometimes a fuck circle can get kind of small, depending on the lifestyle you live in. If you go to specialty places where a lot of people don't go for your sexual pleasure, or you go to a particular place and you spend 10 hours a day there, 5 days a week, or you at a job for 40 years, sometimes the people you start fucking know each other, right? You start introducing your exes, and while you're introducing your exes, all your exes are hugging each other because they all know each other. You know, you sometimes it's your friend. You fucking a girl you didn't even know your friend fucked 8 years ago, and you done married her. You know, how do you deal with it sometimes? Imagine you dating a woman, had a baby. The woman got fucked by somebody you don't like. You don't like this motherfucker. You don't like the way he treated this woman, or she treated this woman, or they treated this woman when they were together. You don't like the way this person handled the woman you with. It's that fucking simple. You dating her and you be like, fuck that nigga. If I ever see him on the street or her, blah, 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 this and that. You all hyped up about what you don't like. And it turns out there's one little thing. We got one little glitch here. The baby looks just like that nigga. Just like baby's 13. It's a boy. He got every feature of this ex. Can you handle it? Can you handle that in 8 years you're going to be looking at the twin of someone you can't stand? I'm curious how women handle this. When you look at your children and your children look exactly like the people who have violated you. I know it has to be hard in some instances. you know? I couldn't imagine. I can remember a time when my mom threatened to send me to my daddy just because I asked too many damn questions. Do you see? I'm still doing it. I'm a very curious mind, but one day I should send you to your daddy. I don't think she meant it. I just think she wanted me to shut up that day. I was feeling very inquisitive. You know how adults are. We've been there. You ask something, they not in the mood to fucking answer. They like, shut up. You don't want to shut up. No, you want to push the fucking red button, the hot red button. Then they tell you in a minute, I'll swoop you to fucking a plane and send you to Africa where your great great aunt lived. That it was that kind of shit. But my mom has never ever made a move to put me out of her home. So let's put that on the record too. All right, Mama Ibaye. you know, let's imagine you want to marry this woman. I spent my year, I've been pushing this baby in the stroller, handling my role as that guardian. I want to be the guardian for that baby, even though that baby looks just like your woman's ex. You've been able to handle all of that. I can separate it. This is your soul. This is not your ex's soul. This baby loves me, so this can't be your ex because we can't stand each other. I think I want to represent as that guardian. I want to marry. Meanwhile, the woman's going, hmm. I wouldn't mind having you as my baby daddy. I also wouldn't mind marrying you so I can have some security for my baby. Is this a match? I don't know. I'm asking y'all out there. Is that a match? Is it okay for one to want to be in a relationship for a different reason than the other? I say yes, but should they both be aware? That's where I personally have my questions with people. I think it's okay to have different reasons to be there as long as you're aware. You know what you get in. What turns you on about me? You make me secure. You take care of my baby. Make sure you say it, you know? Oh, I hear you. What turns you on about me? You know? I love that you're giving me an opportunity to be a guardian to your child, you know? So you really know and understand and, maybe not take each other as much for granted and understand how serious each other are about the things that matter the most to the two of you, you know, if you get there, because some women can't even make it through these processes because they're so worried about what everybody's thinking about them that even though their vagina is like, I haven't had any fun in a year. I'm ready to get out there. I don't know what's gonna happen. I might pray for a little while because I'm not letting just anything play with me. It's gonna take me a minute, but I want to get out there. It's been a year I ain't had none. I used to fuck every other day. I'm ready. And guess what happens? Your mind says, no, you can't go out there because everybody's gonna think you a slut. You see that face I made? That's your pussy pouting. It's like, we're not doing this. No, I want to go out there. This has nothing to do with slutty. Clear your minds, ladies. Let your body's telling you what it needs. I tell people your body gonna always tell you what it needs. My body be like, I sure could go for some watermelon. That's telling me I need that nourishment. I sure could go for some shrimp. I sure could go for some blah. It's the same with the other stuff. I sure could go for some dick. I sure could go for a dildo. I sure could go for a fist. I sure could go for a tongue. Whatever your flavor, your body's saying, you're not slutty. You're doing something natural. Why do you think we were built this way if we weren't built this way to use these things? I'm not judging people that make vows to never explore sexuality for the rest of your life. I'm not, and there are people out here who are not interested. They're asexual. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to people that enjoy sex, but simply feeling guilty because she had a baby 3, 4, 6 months ago. She's gonna think everybody thinks she's a hoe because she's not married to this man and she horny. Because they out here going, oh, she ain't even been fucking without a baby for a week. It's been 6 months, but they done chopped her ass down to a week and gossip. Oh, that bitch just had the baby last week. Bitch had the baby in March. It's October. Oh, the bitch had the baby last week. So they setting you up to be a slut, and you gonna let this happen? You know who you are. You know you're not a slut. They forgot about the 9 months that preceded that. It's been 15 months since you got laid, and these bitches going, oh, that bitch just had the baby. What that got to do with last time I fucked? That's the question that you should ask them. Maybe they'll stop saying it, perhaps. And you need to accept it your damn self. You haven't had any in 15 months. Been 15 months. You used to fuck every 3 days. And you feel guilty because you had a cantaloupe and a watermelon come out of it. Now all of a sudden you have reserved energy letting something back in there that you might not even feel for a while because you got this, I don't know, tell me. Because you let out all that stuff. Does it take some time? I know it does. It takes time to contract. That's that 6 weeks where your stomach goes back in, you know? Some of those little dicks might not have a home for a little while until you heal. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, please put it in the comments because I've never had a baby. You know, I understand even while you're dating, you can fuck during the pregnancy as long as you don't hurt the baby. So I'm sure there's some people out here who are not waiting until after they have the baby and heal because it's a baby that's what's tearing your pussy up. So you can fuck before you had a baby, before your pussy get torn up. It's also my understanding that some men love that shit and some ain't going in there with the baby in there because they're scared they're gonna hurt the baby. Even though the body is designed for a woman to have sex while she's pregnant. Because she horning her damn self. I guess whoever created her said, well, you know she's still gonna want to fuck after we put a baby in the sack, because that's how she got the baby in the first place. She was out there fucking. So I think we should put the baby in this special placenta so when that penis or that dildo come back up in here or that fist or that long tongue, it don't snatch the baby out or knock the baby around or the damn thing get caught up in the baby's ass or something. Like, or, we can't have this. You fucking lady and you hitting the baby in the chin. That's why we got a sack for the baby. You know, it's okay to fuck if this is something that y'all want to do. What I add to all this, just had a baby and having sex, don't destroy your vagina with VTDs, variable transition diseases, transmission disease, various transmission diseases, VTDs, you know? You got a baby to take care of. You don't need to be trying to take care of a baby and some new vaginal issues, if you know what I mean. Protect yourself. Protect that baby. You know, protect your mental. This is a fragile time. You out here who are dating women with babies, like be kind, be gentle, be sensitive, or stop dating women with babies if you're not going to treat them right or you're going to make them choose between the baby and your fucking ass. She just went through all this magic and crafted this human being and brought this baby to life and put it in the world and cut a cord and then released it into the world. And she just met your monkey stinking ass 2 months ago. And you're going to tell her to choose between her baby and you? You don't need to be fucking with people who just had a baby. I'm not sure what kind of people you should be fucking with. Like I tell all y'all, I'm not trying to pick fights with any of you out there. Live your fucking lives, just I am a proponent of us all trying to do better. We all got things we have to work on. Today's challenge is different from tomorrow's and yesterday's. Like, fucking show some respect to some of these women who are going through these struggles and tearing their bodies out, to produce these children, regardless of the reasons. It's the magic of a woman's womb that puts us all on this planet. I ain't never seen a baby come out of a dick in my life. I've never seen a baby come out of an ass in my life. I've never seen a baby come out of somebody's mouth and nobody's ears. There are no other orifices that I've seen anything come out of except a woman's vagina. That's a magical journey that should be respected. You know, don't and if you don't want to respect it and be a part of that journey of seeding, then don't date women who just had a baby. They're gonna be horny too, though. All you out there who good at that, maybe you wanna play yourselves up some, and let them know. Because sometimes it's hard for a woman who just had a baby. Maybe we could get just had a baby and wannafuck.com going if it's not already out there. Y'all know I'm always a proponent of recommending organizations and places for y'all to go to find your matches. I want to fuck, but I'm still pregnant.net. I don't know. Let's fuck during my 9 month pregnancy.org. You know, I don't want no relationship, but I'm horny and pregnant.com. There's things out there for you. And even if that doesn't exist, type those things on Google and they'll lead you eventually down that yellow brick road to that door that opens for whatever you into on the dating spectrum. And on that note, y'all already know we spent a half an hour and y'all know what time it is because we all got something to do. This has been Cass Allen with Play With It.